Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth. All powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
Welcome to Season 5 of the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom, where we talk with enterprise and technology platform leaders about the people, processes, and platforms that make marketing and customer experience successful, scalable, and sustainable. This is what creates an Agile brand. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom, advisor and consultant for Fortune 1000 marketing and CX leaders and teams as principal and chief strategist at GK5A, and best-selling author, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and Agile certified coach. The Agile Brand podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To sign up for the Agile Brand newsletter and get the latest insights and articles on marketing technology and CX, or to purchase a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, go to gregkihlstrom.com. You can also find all my books on Amazon and other retailers. And now on to the show. HubSpot's Inbound conference in Boston recently occurred, and there were a lot of exciting announcements. We're here to talk about the impact that AI is having on marketers and how they can more effectively reach their customers. Today, we're going to talk about how marketers can avoid the hype and meaningfully use AI to create better customer experiences and build customer loyalty. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Nicholas Holland, VP of Product and GM of HubSpot Marketing Hub. Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about this with you. Why don't we start by you giving a brief background on yourself as well as what your role is at HubSpot?
Okay, so again, I'm Nicholas Holland. I'm a VP in the product org. I'm also the GM of two hubs, Marketing Hub and CMS Hub. So really, I'm responsible for like the marketing persona specifically. Marketing Hub is what HubSpot's been known for. It's really like where we kind of grew our roots with an inbound concept. So it does content marketing, social media marketing, and advertising on the lead generation side. And Marketing Hub also does kind of marketing automation. So that's like campaign orchestration, automation, email marketing, mobile messaging, reporting, et cetera. So that's kind of what we do there. And then CMS Hub is basically an enterprise level kind of cloud management for your website. And so That's what I do.
Wonderful. Well, yeah. So then, since we're fresh from Inbound 2023 in Boston a few weeks ago, I'd like to start by asking about the show and, some of your thoughts this year. So what were some of the highlights for you this year?
So this year was, as probably most of your listeners know, the world changed pretty dramatically this year with the AI stuff with GPT and ChatGPT specifically moving into the mind share of most people, specifically business people. We had been working with AI for a few years, but our philosophy had been really, we were almost like the anti-AI company, not from a using it, but we felt like many companies out there kind of oversold the promise of it, because up until this last year, you had to have such big data sets to really make use of it.
Yeah.
So we've been quite familiar with AI, using it for ourselves and some of our largest customers, but it had not been something that we had been very vocal about. And that changed early this year, especially when like all of the large language models made it more accessible to the normal person. And HubSpot has always been really focused on the frontline, rank and file, marketer, sales, service people. We want to make them the heroes. That's what I used to be in a previous career. And so the fact that now all of this AI stuff helps you better at your job, well, that was like a big shift for us. And so we wanted to capture that. So that was big. The second thing that's big is a lot of people are kind of moving into multiple channels. We all for years have known that mobile is quite a popular area for our consumer lives, but on the B2B side, it has been slow to uptake anything besides email. And that's been a slow change over the last few years. And so we, released WhatsApp last year and we released SMS this year. And then last, I'm a big believer that if you're doing marketing specifically, that to be as personalized as you can is really the key. So the right message to the right people in the right context or the right place, that's hard. And to do that, I think that marketers that use CRMs are more powerful and more successful than those who don't. And so we've spent a ton of time at this inbound, really just continuing to invest in our CRM and making it more like extensible, customizable, making sure that like how you run your business can be reflected in that. And that really unlocks a lot of power for marketers.
Yeah. And that, lots of exciting stuff there and announcements. And, I know from my perspective, and we talk a lot about omni-channel or at least moving to multi-channel and stuff. So the SMS and WhatsApp is pretty interesting stuff. It sounds like there were also some announcements around not only Sales Hub, which anyone familiar with HubSpot is I'm sure familiar with, as well as Commerce Hub. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah. So Sales Hub is something where, we've had a CRM, and if you've got a lot of marketers or salespeople listening, marketing or specifically sales and CRM have been synonymous for many years. Okay. And the reality is that as we've kind of matured in our business thinking, they're really kind of two separate things, frankly. CRM has become more and more like a single pane of glass to see everything about your business. And sales is more about kind of rep productivity, growing a sales force that, really helps you engage and kind of close deals with customers. So we decided to get real serious about that. And instead of kind of having them very, people conflating them together, we have the CRM is very distinctly the CRM and where you store your data. And we really wanted Sales Hub to get better at serving those frontline teams. So we got very serious and invested in a very streamlined, hyper-focused prospecting type environment and a set of tools around it to really improve that. We got really clear on making sure we put a lot of investments for like sales managers to coach their people and see what their performance is, do better sales forecasting. And then, across the board, we just added a lot of productivity stuff, a lot of polish that like makes reps and managers more successful. And in the Commerce Hub, we kind of slipped that in. It's not something you buy. It's effectively a collection of tools that just help you get paid faster. And for a while, we referenced these tools, we built them for years, but we didn't really have a way of kind of capturing what we were trying to do for customers. And so we decided to just move forward with calling it Commerce Hub. And an easy way of thinking about that is that today you're a B2B company, you're effectively probably using a CRM, you probably got marketing automation, you probably have some reps doing sales automation. But the reality is that when you engage with customers, ideally you're doing it in a digital way. So ideally you're quoting them, sending out quotes that are digital so you can get information on, what they like, what they don't, give them a chance to buy. If you've already engaged and done service with them, ideally you're invoicing them. And of course you can invoice from your QuickBooks or your Xero or whatever your accounting system is. But to have your reps be able to close the deal or send the invoice is also a key part of many businesses. So Commerce Hub just represents all of these tools that help you get paid faster. And when it connects back to the CRM and connects back to your accounting systems, what's nice is when you start to run reports on sales performance, it's not just on the deal closed, it's actually on the money collected. That's pretty nice.
Before we continue, I'd like to introduce you to a sponsor of the show, Partner Hero. Customer service outsourcing has long been available mainly to large enterprise businesses with long-term contracts and onerous procurement processes. Partner Hero is challenging business as usual and bringing the benefits of outsourcing to small and medium businesses as well as startups. With short, flexible contracts and fast ramp-up times, Partner Hero is making customer support outsourcing a viable option for small and medium businesses and startups. It's perfect for companies with seasonality expecting a temporary spike in volume or that simply need to scale up. And their focus on quality means your customers will get an experience that feels like it comes from your team. If you're ready to bring in outside customer support help for your company that feels like it's part of your existing team, check out Partner Hero. Head on over to partnerhero.com/agile, that's partnerhero.com/AGILE, to book a free consultation with their solutions team. Mention you heard about Partner Hero from the Agile brand and they'll waive the setup fee. Now let's get back to the show. Let's now shift a little bit. You had mentioned the trend of AI is, it's certainly sweeping the the industry, and so I want to spend some time talking about that today. Certainly HubSpot has announced some features, and I want to talk some about that, as well as just more broadly how marketers should be thinking about using AI tools in general, and certainly we've spent a lot of time on this show over this year. Every show that I've had this year has touched on it in some way. But I think today, as we talk through this, want to look at, there's a lot of things that can be done, but what's going to make the most meaningful impact to marketers as we move forward. So, but let's start with HubSpot made a big announcement of HubSpot AI. Could you give us a sense of what exactly does that include, and maybe some of the highlights?
Sure. So the HubSpot AI is like an umbrella that captures all of the AI efforts that we've done. In the past, coming up to this inbound, we've already had things like predictive lead scoring. That's a way of telling a salesperson, and a marketer kind of works with it. It says like, this lead is more likely to close than this other lead. So that's trying to help you find the signal and the noise. And we've had also in the past, and we still have it now, what we call adaptive testing. So that's a fancy way of saying that, like, you want to know which landing page is going to perform the best. In the past, you used to have to do all sorts of like really deep A/B testing and all that stuff. But with AI, it's pretty straightforward. You just make variations. Could be 1, could be 5. And then the AI will watch and find the best variation and just naturally make that the main one. So it's pretty nice. It kind of takes a lot of the pain out of testing. Yeah. For this inbound, for example, we really did a lot with integrating the LLM type stuff. So, and you'll see a lot of vendors across the world doing this. But what we did was, first, instead of just having, let's say, ChatGPT inside of HubSpot, we started asking ourselves, all right, so the way this works for marketers and everybody who's listening is, you're kind of on this journey. You're like, what's this AI stuff? And I tell everybody, before we really can have like a deep, meaningful conversation, you need to go make something that matters to you on ChatGPT. Yeah. I've heard people putting together a business plan. I've heard people basically putting resignation letters. I've heard people basically doing things like putting together their eulogy if they die. I've heard just a variety of things. But the reason why I say don't go play with it, build something that matters. Yeah. And the reason why is that you'll quickly realize why prompt engineering is like such a thing. Because the easiest way to think about it is think about how we talk to computers. You roll back the clock 60 years ago, we're talking to it with binary, zeros and ones. You then go a little bit further forward and we're talking to computers with, punch cards. Then you go a little bit further forward, we're talking to computers with command lines. And again, these were all very challenging, specialized skills. You had to be a programmer or something like that. And then you move on to, then Xerox comes out with the windowing system. And Microsoft makes it famous with Windows 95. Right. And now it sets the paradigm that we are interfacing with a windowing machine for the next, 30 years.
Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth. All powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
What's really cool about the LLMs that are out there now is that for the first time, we have like a new UX pattern, like a new way of interfacing with technology. We can just talk to it. You can literally just talk to the computer. And when I mean talk to it, I mean like it's a conversation, both in text or audio. But the deal is that now under this new paradigm, we all know how varied communications are, even amongst humans. We've seen, from professional speeches given down to, people are scared to speak in front of people. We know what it's like to read an amazing author versus someone who's a terrible writer. We know even in our own day-to-day worlds, how some of our peers and coworkers are very clear, concise, elegant in their writing, and others are meandering and confusing and challenging to communicate with. So this rich fabric of communication, we know just day in and day out of working with other humans, what a wide variance it has. Yeah. Now put all of that kind of variance and spectrum with when you're working with the computer. Now you see why prompt engineering is such a thing, because you're talking to a computer and asking it to give you an output, but it's not a mind reader. It doesn't have some sort of magical, mystical skills. It's only as good as the conversation that you're basically putting into it and its ability to understand, process, and to give you an output. Yeah. So that's a long-winded kind of opening to say that we decided to build like a whole prompt engineering layer inside of HubSpot. Mm-hmm. And so this means that we don't want people to have to be geniuses at how to speak with, these large language models. If you take a moment, if no one here, so the second thing I always tell people, first thing is go do something with ChatGPT. The second thing I tell people to do is go watch some of these YouTube videos on like advanced prompt engineering or advanced usage with ChatGPT, and it'll start to really open up your mind as to just how varied and deep and rich you can be whenever you're chatting with these LLMs to get high quality output. So we studied all this and we put all sorts of things that are happening behind the scenes, so that whenever you are trying to generate blog post topics, for example, we now are combining third-party data from, tools like SEMrush to know what keywords are important to your business already. We're basically going through and looking at what things have worked well in the past, what things you've already, written about. We're going through and we're understanding kind of what the world of a great blog topic looks like. We're taking all of this and we're putting together that for our customer. And when you're sitting in HubSpot, it's just like answer a few questions and like, hey, here are like 10 great blog topics to write about. But think about all the stuff I just told you in the background that's happening, that we take all of that grunt work out. Yeah. That's kind of our perspective as we go forward. We are now putting that all across the system. Another place, like with email subject lines, to get people to open your emails, that is an art. And there's a ton of research, a ton of data that shows that just changing a few words can have a huge impact on people opening up your emails. We're using AI to do stuff like that as well. So I'll pause there for a minute because I just wanted to say that, like, bringing in that LLM, treating it like a UX interface, but more importantly, like, we're figuring out the best ways to talk with the LLM, mixing it with unique data that's unique to you as a HubSpot user, to then do these very simple aids to kind of daily work to make your life easier. That's kind of what we're doing right now. So I'll pause there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And, it kind of speaks to, you're looking at things from the operational standpoint, right? Because you're making it easy, you're making it, democratizing, so to speak, because it is prompt engineering. It's a thing, to your point, and it's there are people that are very good at it, and there are people that are. It's kind of, I just liken it to like searching on Google. Like it's funny to say, but there are people that are not very good at searching on a search engine, and there are people that are good at it. And so I think it's simpler, but I think it's a decent analogy there of, and now that we have generative AI, which, you can you can get quite a variance of results. So, it sounds like you're looking at not only what is the experience of the content creator or the marketer or salesperson, whoever that is on the inside of the organization, as well as looking at then how does it get distributed to the end customer. And, I think that's it's important to kind of take into account that entire life cycle, not just how do we get content out, but how do we get great content out, and how do we make relevant content?
Yep. We did a couple of other cool things that I think are just the beginning of where all these things are going. So like the first is we have a very powerful content platform for building all sorts of content experiences, from microsites to portals to full on websites for your business. And one of the things we found is that you can ask questions and understand what the user is looking for, and you can build a site for them. And we decided to start exploring this with our freemium product. And so now, if anybody's listening, you want to start a side hustle, you want to go do something, like you can go to HubSpot, sign up, answer a few questions, and it will generate a custom website for you.
Nice.
And, right now it's a very simplistic, it's still nice looking, but it's like a single page website, still built on our content platform, so you can expand it. But over time, you can see that now moving to the point where now we make a 6-page website, and it automatically, you upload a few pictures and it puts an About Us page together with, profile headshots. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that. The other thing we did, I think is interesting, is like helping out people with like workflow type stuff, not automation, but I mean like just, day-to-day work streams. So like right now, when you finish a blog post and you hit save, it automatically generates social posts ready to go for you. And it's not just taking the header image and cutting, taking the first 4 sentences. It's actually using prompts to create the right type of social post for the right type of network that you're going to put it on, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
We also put image generation in there now, and it's using the current version of DALL-E 2. It's not very good for what it's worth. Like it's like hit or miss. Yeah. But the next version of DALL-E 3, I don't know if you've heard, that DALL-E 3 is incredible.
Yeah.
And so we've got that in there so that when DALL-E 3 is out, that comes out. And so what's exciting is like literally probably, DALL-E 3 is rolling out right now, but just say over like the next 60 days, what this means is that you can have it generate blog topics, create the blog for you. So like it generates the content as well, automatically make a custom image for the top of it. You get to still edit it and work back and forth and make sure you're happy with it. But then when you hit save, it's generating the social posts that also have, generated images that look nice. And, then you go over and you can send an email out about that blog post, and it's picking the right subject line based off the body of the email to give you like a good idea as what the people open. Like, man, we're talking about real time savers now. So whenever they say that this is like a $1 trillion impact to the economy, I don't even need to know what AI looks like next year to start thinking that right now, if I'm a marketer, what HubSpot's done is just save me, 2 hours this week, 3 hours this week. That's real time.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why, there's a lot of things that kind of come and go as far as hype goes in the industry. And, I've certainly been through a few of those cycles myself. But I mean, I think what sets AI apart is what you're saying, which is that there is an immediate impact that it can have, whether or not you're doing, in the maturity scale of AI, there's those that are like way advanced and doing some things that smaller orgs or just many orgs don't have the resources to do, but everyone can have some kind of, almost immediate impact if they use some kind of tools like these. So I think that's just why we're talking about it so much, and why I don't think it's, I don't think it's a flash in the pan. I think it's, I think it's here to stay. And to your point, a year from now, we may stop talking about it in terms of AI, and it's probably just going to be the way that we work at some point, but it's still going to be prevalent. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, for sure. I think the part that's probably most challenging is in the past, we've really been thinking that a lot of this was like more sizzle than steak.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think now the challenge is old incumbents, older than us. Of course, we're pretty old now as well, but like there's many companies much older and bigger. But I think ourselves and older incumbents, this isn't a time to rest on your laurels, because at the end of the day, a lot of this technology is so fascinating, fast changing, enabling, unique, that there will be big trend shifts in the next 2 years over like the tools that people use. But
Yeah.
I think if I was, if I'm in the audience, heck, I even do it myself. It's my own advice to myself is like, you should be on a steady diet of testing these tools out
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, I think that a lot of companies are mature enough at the point now where they're, trying to move away from these kind of piecemealed cobble tax systems. That's what I call it whenever you've got like 14 different core systems that you're using. I think that's kind of a rough way to exist. And if anybody's listening and you live in that world, that's tough. Like I really do think consolidating on something like a HubSpot or one of the competitors that we have, that's going to make your life easier. But
Yeah.
there are many point solutions that then integrate or complement or work alongside these that I would be playing with like almost daily. And if a company doesn't keep up, ourselves included.
The reality is striking. While we can stream movies on demand and order anything to our doorstep within a click, healthcare interactions often feel needlessly complex. Healthcare marketers, this one's for you. In Shop, Stream, Heal, author Adeline Ashley shares actionable insights from industry leaders like Netflix, Amazon, and Delta, showing how healthcare can thoughtfully adapt their winning strategies. This isn't about technology for technology's sake. It's about making healthcare more accessible, intuitive, and human. Drawing from real-world successes and lessons learned, the book shows you how to create healthcare experiences that truly meet patient needs while preserving clinical excellence. Shop, Stream, Heal by Adeline Ashley features a foreword from Dave O'Flanagan, CEO of Sitecore. It's published by the Agile brand and now available in print and digital formats on Amazon. Go to shopstreamheal.com for more information.
Move. Like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
this is the time to basically be really, really curious and capturing the awesome changes that are out there. And, our goal is to keep up. But I think that overall, this is a great time to be a marketer. This is a great time to be a sales, like a B2B front office worker right now, service person. God, man, some of the stuff coming out for service is like also amazing. Like you have a chat thread with a customer over 4 or 5 days. And then with one click, it can summarize everything, including the outcomes from that. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of the other piece is, we've talked about like internal content creation as well as, how it might get distributed to other customers. But yeah, with chat now it's creating content on its own based on, customer input. So, that brings a whole other level. And, another thing that makes this interesting to me as well, we have wide audience on the show. There's people listening from the enterprise. There's people listening, I'm sure, from smaller orgs as well. It helps maybe in different ways, but it helps organizations of all sizes, whether you have a huge marketing team and you just need to scale to yet more customers because customers want more personalization, every day at this point, or you're a small org or a small marketing team and you just need to do more. It helps you scale there. But I think that the chat and the conversational marketing piece is yet another, kind of exponential growth thing because now you don't have to have a customer service rep on the other side of that. Now it's automated and yet, more and more able to speak in your voice and connect to things in the workflow as well. And it sounds like you've made some enhancements with that as well.
Yeah, I think at this inbound service hub, one of the things they released is that you can feed it all of your knowledge base articles, feed a chat, like a bot, all of the knowledge base articles. And I think they even got it to the point where you can feed it any URL. So, think about that for a moment. We've already seen ChatGPT. Again, if you haven't used it out here, you got to use it to really understand what I'm saying. But like, it's pretty good about just chatting back and forth. Like it's not missing a beat whenever you're like, how's your day? Oh my God, my day is amazing. How's your day? Like it is very good at the baseline general conversations. So then you go in and you want to ask it a specific question. Excuse me, where would I go to connect my domain here at HubSpot? That's like a very legitimate support question. It's like a big support driver that we get. People call in, our UX people obsess over like, how do we make this more easy to find? There's even jokes like do you put connect domain in the main navigation? Probably not. That'd be awful afterwards. But like still, you get that. So the fact that someone can go say, how do I do this? And then a knowledge-based article, which you have carefully curated, kept up to date. You've got people who are trying to make sure these things are good about answering the questions of customers. That knowledge base is now something that has been fed into the database or the mind, roughly, of the AI. And what it does is it just gives you a very natural, sure, I can help you with that. Here's what you do. You go up to settings, you go down to this particular thing, domains. Over on the right, you do X, Y, and Z. Let me know if you want me to go deeper.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, now, and then to your point, you talked about voice. We're not far off. Like the technology exists today already. Like we just haven't, but we're not far off where that whole thing I just said can be done over the phone with audio. I mean, if you haven't seen like, this is not a HubSpot company, but if you haven't seen like Smith.ai or Air.ai, these are companies that, and I can't attest for how good they are, but their demos are interesting. Their demos are effectively AI, something like a large language model that has been paired with a voice model, and they are conducting phone calls.
Yeah. It's and that just speaks to customers want to connect how they want to connect. There's no one way that that a brand should provide their customers to contact. It's it's kind of whatever works best for that end customer for any number of reasons. Sometimes multiple channels in the course of a day. It's just kind of what's in front of them.
Now, last thing I'll tell you, like this is just getting like real meta, but I bet a lot of us. Do you have an Alexa or a Google?
I do. I have Alexa. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've already kind of given them a personality. They have good voice models. They sound nice. They're pretty snappy. They mess up every once in a while, but they're pretty snappy about answering at the good rhythm. So we've already figured out intonation, rhythm of speaking. We've allowed a device in the house that we talk to. Like we already have a robot roughly in the house. But Alexa and Google specifically are moving at light speed to basically replace their current models with large language models. So the reality is that soon you'll be able to have conversations with Alexa and conversations with Bard/Google Assistant. Yeah. And when that happens and you're that used to talking to an AI agent, I think we're not going to see a lot of like pushback or kind of squinched up faces where people are like, oh, I have to talk to a bot. Right. I think they're going to be just fine with it. It's going to say something like, would you like to talk to an AI agent right now? Would you like to wait for a human for 6 minutes? Or would you like to, have somebody call you back? And someone's going to be like, yeah, I'll try the AI bot. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially if they're directly linked into data. I mean, this is where the probably a topic for another show as well. But when there's disconnected data sources and all that kind of stuff, like it doesn't matter if you're human, bot, or whatever. Like the customer's not going to get what they want. But if the AI bot has access to all the relevant information, then why wouldn't you? It's probably quicker than a person.
That's right. Yeah. There's a world here. I did an interview at Inbound and someone said, should we be scared of Inbound and all that stuff? And I was like, I mean, not Inbound, AI. Yeah. And I said, what I think the debate when they say, should we be scared, is like, there's really a debate about like artificial general intelligence, AGI. Right. There's a debate about like, if it becomes self-aware and, kind of begins to try to teach itself on its own, all that stuff. Like there are some ethical discussions around there.
I mean, that's the Terminator scenario. Yeah, right?
I think there are true ethical conversations to be had around that. But where we are right now is I'm not scared of a bulldozer. Now, make no mistake, a bulldozer can move thousands of pounds of earth and could knock down a house or destroy my car. Like, a bulldozer is an incredibly powerful tool or piece of machinery.
Right.
But man, I'm so thankful we live in a world with bulldozers, because look about what we can do as a human race with those. And I think that right now, where a lot of these AI tools are they are like power tools. I joke, I say a lot of people are terrified of AI right now, but it's like being terrified of spell check.
Yeah, right.
When you go through and you're writing your document and it's going through and it's correcting your spell check and your grammar, that's like pretty amazing if you were to roll back the clock 40 years ago. But now it's just annoying if you don't have it. And that's the same thing I think that's going to be for AI for a while, which is it's amazing when you have it. It's annoying when you don't. And I think that people will be more and more thankful for it. I do think we've got to watch out how far we go. This is like a Lord of the Rings, like don't dig too deep in the mines of Moria. But
right.
I do think right now it's something that people should be pretty happy about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nicholas, thanks so much for joining. One last thing before we go, just you've given a lot of great advice and touched on a lot of subjects here today. But if you had one piece of advice for those orgs out there that maybe they're not afraid of AI, but maybe unsure where to start, how they should be thinking about it, what's one piece of advice there?
So I go back to, I'll give you three. I know, but go use ChatGPT or Claude, CLAUDE. Like, those are the two kind of big names in the space right now. Go use them and make a meaningful piece of content, either for work or for home. And when I say meaningful, like, get all the way through to it being a finished product, because then you'll smile and chuckle about how far it has to go to become Skynet. And then the last part is hopefully everybody realizes that this is like a really fun time to unlock productivity. So if you're older in your career, I don't think AI is going to replace jobs or people. I think it's going to replace people who don't, use AI.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone's been hearing that, but it is true. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't up level your skills, you don't mess around with it, you don't basically exist with natural curiosity around this stuff, you'll be left behind. And I think that's, instead of this being like a scary conversation, I tend to think that people should have like a growth mindset. We should always be trying to grow and evolve. Nothing stays the same. And I think that my last piece of advice is just stay super curious about this stuff, stay super open-minded, and be really receptive to kind of the spoils that will come from this. Like, there'll be a lot of nice upside. And I think people who embrace that will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Love it. Great advice. Well, again, I'd like to thank Nicholas Holland, VP of Product and GM of HubSpot Marketing Hub, for joining the show. You can learn more about Nicholas and HubSpot by following the links in the show notes. Thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.gregkihlstrom.com. That's GREGKIHLSTROM.com. To get a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, visit my website, or you can find it on Amazon or other retailers. The Agile Brand is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, stay agile.